This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Elder Geeks Game Club. This is episode number 37, Nitronic Rush. My name is Steve and with me as always is Phil. Phil, how are you doing this evening?
Very good. How are you?
Doing great. And also with us as always is Randy. Randy, how are you doing this evening?
I'm coming down from my Nitronic rush. I'm Nitronic crashing.
You had the rush, huh? It is a rush. It is definitely a rush. So for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, what we do here on the Game Club is we'll pick a game, we'll play it for a couple of weeks independently between the three of us, and then we get together here and record a podcast where we discuss the game, kind of things we liked, things we didn't like. It's more of a informal, kind of a book club style chat, not really intended to be an official review in any capacity. And we like to have our audience kind of get involved as well and give us some feedback and tell us what they thought of the game as well. This time around, like I mentioned, we played the game Nitronic Rush, which is a free, well, it's not, yeah, it's free, kind of a car racing game, and I'm going to let Phil go ahead and give you guys some background on the game.
Sure. So Nitronic Rush, it's pegged as an experimental survival racing game, and it was created by a bunch of students at DigiPen under the name of Teen Nitronic. DigiPen, I feel like you hear a lot about their students, like especially recently.
Yeah. The Portal.
Yeah, I mean that's
people were DigiPen people, right?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a DigiPen person so bad when I was like younger. There was a write-up of it in Nintendo Power like ages ago, and I was just like, that's where I'm going to school. And I never did, but I wanted to like really bad.
Were they out in California?
No, they're Washington. It's like right across the street from Nintendo,
oh, really?
I believe.
Oh,
yeah,
I did not know that at all.
I mean, yeah, it's basically a Nintendo school. I mean, like they own
okay.
it and all that. So, yeah. So yeah, it's a free downloadable game, as Steve mentioned, and it's made available through nitronicrush.com, and that was available November of 2011, so a year ago now. It was made by 4 programmers and a designer. They started the project the summer before their junior year at DigiPen, and after 17 months, they had a team of 11 members in total. And this included 4 artists, concept art, modeler, and a full-time sound designer. So, I grabbed that off Giant Bomb, by the way. Just want to credit them. Actually, the remaining part of this information I grabbed from Giant Bomb. The game was built entirely from the ground up using C, so they didn't C++, so they didn't use any engines or anything like that. The key members of Team Nitronic, they actually formed Refract Studios, and these guys are an indie game company, and they haven't created anything yet, but they've actually just ran a successful Kickstarter for a game called Distance, and Distance is basically a spiritual successor of Nitronic Rush. It looks very close to it, but it looks way more polished and stuff. And they made over 160 grand. And their goal was 125 grand, so they did really good for themselves.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
and the game looks great. So hopefully it'll work out for them.
It's up on Greenlight too, right, on Steam, I think. Distance.
Is it?
I will check it out.
How can it be if it doesn't exist yet?
I thought I saw. I could have sworn it was, but I might be wrong. Or maybe they were looking to get it on there.
Right. And the game, I don't have this in the notes. It is on there?
Yes, it is. It is on.
Did it release, or is it going to release soon?
It is still up for vote, I believe.
Okay.
Because for me, I voted yes for it, so I see the yes check mark, but I don't see that it's saying thanks for helping this title get closer to release on Steam. So I guess it hasn't been greenlit yet. But
nice.
So if you're listening.
Well, what if it gets greenlit and it doesn't exist yet? That just means as soon as it's done, it can go right up.
That they'll sell it through Steam, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah,
No, I
actually,
didn't
most of the games that are greenlit aren't completed yet. Like they launch when they're done. You know. So,
wow.
yeah.
I can't seem to use the search right now on Greenlight. That's alright, I believe you guys. And another thing I didn't have in these notes is that Nitronic Rush, it's rather popular. It's been downloaded over 1 million times in this last year, which is pretty impressive. I mean, think about how many free games there are. So, I mean, it must have caught on. I think it shows the quality of the game, you know?
Yeah, I seem to remember, and I could be way off. I think I read this on NeoGAF, and I don't know how credible this is, but I seem to remember reading something along the lines that Cliffy B got
it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's involved with the new game Distance in any way, shape, or form, or if he just kind of helped them promote it, like gave it a shout out, and I think that gave them got them a lot of exposure.
Okay. Yeah, he's in their Kickstarter video. So.
Okay, well then, yeah, I guess maybe he just got behind them somehow, but I don't know that he's involved with the project in any other capacity.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I doubt it, but yeah, I'm sure he like checked it out, loved it, tried to spread the word. So that's cool. So, Nitronic Rush, the game. We played it. All of us.
Yeah, we did. We all played it. And we all finished it. It's funny. I just wanted to say, I've been dying to say this, and because the big thing about that we were saying was we didn't want to play another platformer. So
I know where you're going with this. I think.
We found this game, and it's a survival racing game, you know, blah blah blah. So it looks not anything like a platformer at all on the surface, but then when you play it, you realize that it actually kind of is a platformer.
It totally plays like a platformer,
especially those hardcore levels. In fact, I'm almost willing to say they're almost puzzle-ish.
We can't escape it, no matter how hard we try.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, God damn it, we're playing a platformer right now. But
it would be completely different. See, the reason why it's almost tipping more towards the platformy side and less towards the racy side is because there's no other cars on the road.
Yeah, you're not racing anybody.
Yeah, you're not racing anybody. I mean, if you just picture it mentally, if you were to replace the car with, say, Sonic, then I think a lot of people would be pretty familiar with the experience.
That's a good point. It did play very much like one of those Sonic, like the more recent 3D Sonic games where you're running on the track and you're looking at Sonic from the back.
And for the love of God, people don't take that as an insult against Nitronic Rush.
Oh, no, that's not a negative. I don't mean that in a bad way.
You just mean the fact that you're going fast, you're moving forward, and you're jumping over obstacles.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting game, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, so the premise of this game is, it looks looked like Tron was a big influence for this, obviously. Not only in the aesthetic of the game and the way it looks and is designed, but also kind of in the story in that it's this, you're in this city, or I don't know if the city's in the computer or not exactly, or if the city itself is just like a large mainframe, but basically what happens is the core of the city, this place that was a very peaceful, prosperous place, gets corrupted with a virus, and then the virus spreads throughout the city, and your car is essentially like the antivirus, and you've got to drive in through the city, navigating through all these obstacles and things trying to stop you to get to the center, to the core, so you can inject the antivirus and then fix the city.
I didn't realize that's what I was doing. That sounds like a really sexy story. I was just driving the car and not doing stuff.
Yeah, that was what I got from the opening kind of little cinematic thing. Was that was the basic of what was happening, and from that, I think that's a really neat premise for a game. I mean, it's not, it's like I said, it's kind of borrowed from Tron, but not so much that it felt derivative. It just was kind of the same idea for the most part. But
yeah, I mean, it even has like the same outline, neon, lights and everything like that, and the soundtrack was.
Daft
pretty
Punk-ish.
Reminiscent. Yeah, it was very Daft Punkish, very Skrillex-ish. So it was very close to the Neutron.
And it worked overall. I mean, I felt like the whole theme of the game and all the design and the sound, everything together was very cohesive and worked together really well. I mean, the game felt much more polished than something that was done by students.
Totally.
Like as a project for school,
Well, I do know that they've been updating it through the year as well, so I'm not sure. Like, I'm not trying to say it was shit when it came out, but there is a possibility that over time they have refined it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but
I will say this. I think it's my only complaint about the game, and it's kind of hard to complain about a game that was absolutely free, is that it feels like it was like I don't want to say like a student game, but almost like a what can we do with this kind of game, and hopefully that Distance will show what they really can do with the game, because you get really cool mechanics in it, like your car jumps, it turns into a jet, but
we didn't really describe like what the car can do. We haven't even talked about like any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's Transform a car. It's Mask basically.
Yeah, it goes fast.
Yeah, you're right. Mask is probably a better analogy than Transformers, really.
For anybody out there who doesn't remember Mask at all, so that would be pretty much anybody born after like what 89 or so, maybe 86. Yeah. But anyway, Mask was this old TV show where everybody had these vehicles that were like two vehicles in one. So there was a dude that drove a God, what the hell was that? Like a Trans Am, and then like the It was like a Trans Am, but the doors folded up like a DeLorean, and they folded out, and he turned it into a jet. So kind of like Mask.
And the DeLorean is in the game, by the way. You can be the DeLorean. And
really?
Yeah, and its wheels do turn in when you fly.
That's awesome. I didn't do that.
Yeah, there's an option to just change it right in the menu.
All right,
I played as the DeLorean a lot.
I'll do it as the DeLorean again for the video.
Sweet. So I loved it. I don't we don't like to compare games, I know, but when we were playing PID last week, and I was saying how I was forcing myself through PID, and I kind of didn't want to play. I had like the complete opposite reaction with this game, which is when you can tell you really, when a game is good. Like, I dicked around with it, not expecting to play much at the time that I turned it on, and then I ended up blowing through the campaign, which is about like 20 minutes.
It's relatively short.
Right. And then like I stopped. I was like, wow, that was like really awesome. And then I just kept playing it, and I kept wanting to go back to it. And then even after I finished all the hardcore levels, and I finished all the old levels, and I did like I unlocked like a ton of achievements. I think I'm only missing like 5 of them.
Wow.
I still went back and played it. I played through the story mode like 2 times after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then you can finish story mode in like 10 minutes when you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you know what to expect, and you just kind of blast through some stuff.
Right, and what I really liked about it too was just the mechanics of the car. Like, once you get good at it, it's one of those games that it's fun from the start, but as you get good at it, you just start like doing crazy shit that you don't even really necessarily need to do, but you just have fun doing it. And that's what it's like the mark of a great game is like when you just want to dick around in the game and just kind of see what you can get away with.
And that's another thing to mention is that the game has kind of like a tricky, like an SS tricky or SSX tricky like almost kind of style of like doing flips and tricks and rolls while you're doing jumps. So and you can get more points for doing crazier moves.
Right. And one of their inspirations was hence the Rush in the title was the old like Did you guys ever get into like San Francisco Rush?
Yeah, I remember playing them. They were in like arcades and stuff. Right?
Yeah, arcades, 64. They were pretty big. That was like their inspiration. I didn't play too much Rush back in the day. In fact, I only played the 64 one like briefly. Like a friend bought it and brought it over to my house. But so I can't really compare it to that. They say it's based on that, and I believe them. I can remember like the car going nuts and stuff like that. But I don't know how it controls compared to this. I mean, this is basically like a twin stick game.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. When I first played through the story mode, I did it on the keyboard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like I wasn't like it was kind of hard, and I wasn't really able to do too many tricks. And then like when I moved to the 360 controller and I played it again, yes, I see people holding up their 360 controller. And then like that was kind of hard because I had to like relearn the controls a little bit. But they were like once I got it, that's when I was like, oh shit, I can do all sorts of amazing shit doing it this way. So the second stick is like your trick stick, the right stick.
Yeah, it also helps roll you with turns. You can do tighter turns.
Yeah, you can do tighter turns. Yeah, exactly. Once I figured that out too, that was like flying through it. It was awesome. Like,
which is a really neat mechanic. I mean, for a racing game, I don't think I've ever played another racing game where you can use the second stick to, influence how tight your turns are.
The only thing I can think of that did that was F-Zero, but it didn't use a second stick. But
right, yeah,
shoulder buttons. I know, but I'm just trying to think of like something where you're using something else, and you know what I mean.
Like usually in like a game like a Need for Speed or Burnout, you're hitting the brake or you're kind of letting yourself drift around and turn. You're like easing off the gas to let yourself slide around. It's not usually something as active as turning the other stick in the opposite direction of the way you want to go to help you make the turn better.
Yeah, GTA 4 actually did that, where you would turn the stick and it would actually help, but it's not anything close to like this. Like GTA 4 did it because it was more like, not to crap on GTA 4 because I love the game, but it just did not have the best driving mechanics, and turning the camera angle on the game actually was what massively helped push the car in that direction. It wasn't. I don't think it was an intentional mechanic like it is in this, where you push that stick and it goes.
Did you guys ever play? I guess it's kind of similar. Did you guys ever play Wave Race Blue Storm?
No, I pretty much stopped after Wave Race 64.
Yeah, right. I don't think I ever played that one. I only played the
cube
first
one. The turns are pressure sensitive to the triggers.
Okay.
You know how, now the GameCube ones have like those real squishy analog triggers, so it's almost kind of like the same idea. Like you know what I mean? Like the harder you press on the trigger, the more he's gonna lean. Yeah. So the second stick is all tricks. So you can like do crazy barrel rolls, and once like I started playing and using the second stick for tricks, I was doing just like crazy shit. Like at one point I was able to basically spin my car like a top, and I just kept doing barrel rolls, and I was like seriously just spinning like a top.
That's awesome.
And eventually I just stopped it, and then like you have so much control over the way you stop it that it almost looks like you're coming out of like a break dance. Like your car just kind of slowly flips around, and then you just drive off. Like, and, you know, I didn't crash into anything. There wasn't anything awkward. Like it just worked like great. So I can't like. The fact that these dudes just built this like as a student game, I mean, it's pretty impressive, like the shit you can do. Another thing I had fun doing with when I was playing through the story mode, like the second or third time, was just like randomly jumping off edges and flying and then catching, latching back onto the track and just doing like crazy stuff and seeing like what I could survive. I guess the survival racing part of it. Yeah, and it's just cool, like how you can even recover from a crazy jump. Like you could just maybe latch onto the side of like this building and then maybe jump right off of the building and fly back onto the track. Like I just love all the options that you basically have thanks to the physics of the game.
I would say if I had a complaint about the game in its current state, I would think and this is from the standpoint of playing with a controller, specifically the 360 controller, and I don't know how it is on other controllers, probably similar, but you can't really change any of the buttons around, and I found some of the button placement to be a little weird.
Yeah, the jumping being X or the right bumper was kind of weird. Like you almost wish that it was the A button instead. You know, like there's something more natural about where that is on your stick for driving.
Yeah, like make the right trigger is your normal accelerate, and then the left trigger is your brake, and that's pretty standard for driving games. But yeah, like you're saying, so the A button is your boost, and then the blue button or the X button is your jump. And so you kind of have to hold it down with the one part of your thumb and then tap it with the tip of your thumb, and I found it at times like I would screw stuff up, especially on the hardcore levels where you really have to be precise. I found some of that to be a little awkward, and it would have been nice to just be able to go in. I mean, I get that it was nice that they give you two options, like you can jump is the X button or the right bumper, but yeah. Even that was a little weird. The right bumper, didn't really work for me either. So I would have liked to have the option to go in and maybe remap some stuff and try some different things out. Just because
it would work better if they were flipped, because then it would be Super Mario style, where like your run button is the tip of your thumb and the jump is the base of your thumb.
Exactly. Yeah, that would probably be perfect. But for a game like Phil's saying with so much freedom to experiment, that to then not have the controls also be able to be kind of switched around so you could try different things that way was a little disappointing. But again, for a free game, I'm not saying that's like a deal breaker or anything like that.
I mean, that's probably a mark of a pretty good game when that's the only bitch that you can say about it is I just wish that a couple of the buttons were swapped around.
Yeah,
that's pretty minimal.
That's literally the only thing that kind of bothered me at all in the entire time I played the game, and that's something that maybe in the new game that they're going to address and work out. So that would be cool.
Sorry,
guys
everybody.
try
If
it?
anybody's watching the YouTube video version of this, I'm the one that's playing it, and you're seeing me play it for the first time. So if I'm not doing anything like ridiculously wicked on it, or catching walls or ceilings or anything properly, I don't care. You're not watching me play this because I'm going like, oh, look how awesome I am at this game, and please don't, oh, look how bad Randy is at this game. I'm just showing it to you so you can see what it looks like and go out and play it. It's free.
Steve, I agree with the button placement. I feel like I taught myself how to play this game 3 times, because the first time I was using the keyboard, then I was using the Xbox controller, and I was focusing on using like A and B or whatever buttons they are, along with trying to use the stick. I gave my thumb like a blister that night. So then I did. I'm not even. That's when I came in the Elder Geek chat like the next day. I was like, dude. Did you guys hurt your thumb playing this? Because I did. So then when I played it again, I forced myself to learn it with having both thumbs on the sticks and using just the triggers to do everything. If you're boosting, you can let go of the acceleration. You don't have to hold both.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that kind of helped a little bit, but there's still like this thing you gotta wrap. I never even most games, if you use the boost, you don't have to hold and accelerate, but I always find myself I'm holding in both.
Me too.
Like almost all the time. So yeah.
Same thing with when you're flying. You don't have to hit the accelerator
right.
at all anymore. It just
yeah,
goes.
it just takes off, right? And then it's using boost because you can't fly for an extended amount of time. Eventually, you have to land.
Did you guys try out the online thing at all?
No.
I did, and I don't really know what it did. I think it kept saying it was downloading ghost data, and then, so what I expected to see was, like, another ghost version of somebody else's car,
Right.
that I would be driving along with me. But then I never saw that, so I don't know.
I wonder if it was just like marking scores against one another instead of like actual ghost data. Like maybe it was just sharing scores.
Yeah, so I did see that. Like at the end when it would ask you to put in your initials or whatever, I would see a couple other ones on there that I didn't recognize, and
a lot of poos and asses.
Yeah, well, I always put in asses. Just everything. Anytime I can put in a 3-letter initial, it's always ass.
Old habits die hard.
I'm not particularly creative that way, but yeah. So there was those were me. The ass was me. I don't know about the other people though. So they might have been downloaded. I don't know, but I just didn't know if maybe something wasn't working right, or I didn't know what to expect because there wasn't really any explanation as to what the online was. You just do it, and I was like, oh, let's see. But that was it.
I do kind of actually have a sort of complaint about the game. So when you play, you guys didn't play much of the hardcore levels, I guess.
I got as far as I could, which was not far.
Yeah.
All right, so I played through them all, and let me tell you, some of these stages took like 20 minutes to get through.
Crap.
I mean, like insanely hard. And that I kind of didn't like that because, all right, when you're playing the campaign mode, like I was saying, you have all these options to do all this stuff. I played through the campaign a couple times because I just had so much fun playing it. So you go to hardcore and they take away your flight ability.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because they take that away, now you're forced to... And this stuff's cool in theory. And it is cool when you're doing it successfully. Now you have to like latch onto walls and and then flip your car around, then flip it again, and it teaches you in the first stage. This is how you flip onto the walls,
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
And it is not easy. And I threw... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think, and this goes back to the controls, I think a lot of why it's not easy is because I was fighting with the buttons as far as doing that. It just didn't...
And, I mean, like, when you do it successfully, it feels awesome. But, like, getting to that point, I mean, you're dying over and over. I'm talking, like, Super Meat Boy type death. Like,
yeah.
You get to a section of, like, maybe 3 jumps, or the checkpoints are nonstop, but you get to a section of maybe, like, 3 jumps, and you just need to freaking get it right, and you need to do it perfect with little room for error. And I just felt like that kind of went against the game. It's almost like there's 2 games here. You know what I mean? Like there's like this, like that was like the mega platformy type stuff. Like I said, almost like a Meat Boy. Whereas I felt the campaign was more of, even though you're not racing against each other, that felt more of like a racing game, and I guess maybe that's the purpose of it. But
well, you and I were actually talking about this through chat earlier. I think that the biggest problem for me about the hardcore levels was there's no gradation between the standard and the hardcore. It is like hardcore, like
right, exactly. It feels like two completely different things. Like
yeah,
there is a different game.
There is no gentle learning curve. It is a knife coming at your face kind of thing, you know. And if you can pull it off, then awesome, kudos, you know. But to go right from the end of the campaign, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go try the hardcore levels now. There is no, I don't want to say hand holding, but you know, Super Meat Boy is a really good example of it. Like Super Meat Boy, even though it's not telling you that it's teaching you how to play, it teaches you how to play while you're playing it. So you get all the basic mechanics down. This game basically just says, okay, now go and stick to that wall, and
right.
You've just got to go through trial and error and just get it, you know, on your own.
Which is not something you ever had to do during the campaign.
No.
Right.
Even like maybe if they had introduced that during the campaign, but maybe a little gentler, and then you get good at that mechanic, and then you're able to then try to, you know, really do these hardcore levels.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. You're just kind of like beating your head against it in the beginning of those hardcore stages.
Yeah, the stick and carrot totally take different roles.
Right.
There's no more carrot, it's all stick.
Right. I understand why they get rid of the flight, because it's like, well, if I have the flight, why am I going to stick to this wall? So
right.
I get that, but like...
But there would be a way still to like do that properly. Like if you had the flight and the ability to stick to the wall, because then you could
right.
like give them situations where you can get so far flying, but eventually you're gonna have to learn how to stick onto the wall.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that is like kind of my only negative. Like I kind of did not have that much fun. It was more of like I was determined to get through the hardcore levels. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I am not letting this beat me. And I knew I could do it, and I did do it, and it felt very good. But and the final level of the hardcore levels probably would have been very hard. It's actually the Battletoads turbo tunnel.
Oh really?
Yeah,
like, that's cool.
I mean, exact. And I know it's exact because you don't understand how many times I've played like the battle. I could go turn on Battletoads right now and do the turbo tunnel probably without dying, and I haven't played the game in years. Like it's like burned into my brain.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, and I'm pretty certain that the track followed like exact because I knew what was coming up and it would happen.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, so actually they actually love Rare because then they have Ultra Combo in there, like the announcer. The announcer's pretty funny too. We didn't even touch on him.
Do a barrel roll achievement.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so yeah, it actually has some pretty good humor to it as well. Like I said, the DeLorean's in there, and there's a couple achievements that you can get just using the DeLorean, like Back to the Future type stuff.
Do you know what was my favorite part of the entire game? And this sounds like a dumb thing for it to be a favorite, but probably because I want to see more games do this, is their end credits. You drove through them. They were on the billboards and everything.
That was awesome.
Like,
really
it's
great.
It's like, why aren't other games doing this? Like, that's really cool. Like, why at the end of Assassin's Creed 3, why did I sit through a fucking 45-minute black and white crawl of just names when you could do something really cool like that? Like, put them on the buildings or something like that.
Yeah, the credits were great in this game. Definitely. Yeah, this game was cool. I mean, I definitely could see this being... Like, this would be a really fun game to play in an arcade.
Oh yeah,
I mean, with I don't know how you would do the controls in the arcade because I think a steering wheel would be a
steering wheel and pedal, just like pole position. Hell yeah,
I would almost want
or even Spy Hunter.
I would almost like to see them do some kind of like unique control, like two like sticks or something that you use. Like I'm gesturing at my webcam right now, so the people listening to this have no idea. But like where you kind of like pivot, kind of the way you use the thumbsticks. But like I don't know, it would be interesting.
I was thinking like maybe it would help if. I mean, this may have been how San Francisco Rush did it actually, but I don't remember. If there was like just kind of a modifier, like you hold in one of the triggers, and now the stick that you use to steer is now your trick stick. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that doesn't in my head right now.
Isn't that how Tricky does it too? Sort of. Don't you hold down a key and then you can like flip and stuff? Or am I thinking of something? Might be thinking of it wrong.
No, I think that's kind of how SSX works. Well, SSX, the moment you leave the ground, you're just doing tricks. Like there's not like a.
I guess I'm thinking of like the grabs when you hold down the
Right.
key and then you do like a grab kind of trick.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played it.
Yeah.
But
I skipped the last one, but I think the last one I played was Tricky on the PS2.
oh god, I love Tricky. I actually was reminded of. Did you guys ever play 1080 snowboarding on N64?
No. Yeah, I did.
Only reminded of it in the fact that, I mean, they're not really anything alike, but in that game, it had a similar thing where like the physics of it were pretty cool. In that, like, if you were falling down the side of a mountain, maybe you could like clip a rock just right with your board where you wouldn't. You know what? Like you wouldn't fall, and you could save yourself, and you could do like these like really crazy things. And that was like one of the things I loved about that game too. Is like, depending on where you placed your board, you could survive. You know, and like that is in this game too. Or depending on the way you flip your car, you can make it. Like, I don't know. I have fun with that kind of stuff. It's cool. I mean, only slightly reminded of 1080 in that way, but
I get you. I smell what you're stepping.
Yeah.
it smells like shit. No.
So I guess I mean for this game I'm definitely interested in Distance now. Having played this, I'd like to see what they can do with a budget, and you know I hope it gets greenlit. I mean even if it doesn't get greenlit, I'm sure it'll be somewhere, and then maybe eventually it'll.
And it looks like an actual racing game too. It looked like from the video there's like cars that you're racing against.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So multiple different cars and maybe a Mario Kart type kart racing segment to it, maybe, perhaps, hopefully.
As in like items and stuff being
Well,
thrown?
maybe not necessarily items, but at least the fact that you're all on the same track and you guys all have like wacky like materials like boosts and jetpacks and crap like that.
Almost kind of like Wipeout.
Yeah, Wipeout-ish.
Yeah, the PC could use a good Wipeout-ish type game. I think that's one thing that I can't think of any out there really that are.
So worth buyings across the board from all of us.
Worth downloading.
Well, yeah, since it's free, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. If you guys didn't check it out, I would say go over there and what is it? Nitronicrush.com. Nitronic-rush.com.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm sure we'll have links in the description and show notes and whatnot. So
yeah.
And
gorgeous game.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is like something that they made for class, and this was something they turn in, and I don't know how DigiPen works. So, you know what I mean? I don't know if this is like their final or something, but definitely worthy of an A. Or I don't know if it's something I don't know if it's just something they made on their. You know what I mean? They just made while they were there. I don't understand. Like I don't know the context of it, but
I thought I remember reading, and again, this was probably something I read on Gaff, and I don't know how accurate it is, but something along the lines of like the reason why they just put this up for free was because it was done at DigiPen and they couldn't monetize. Okay. Like I think it was a project, and that's why they couldn't monetize it. So that's why
that makes sense, right?
And again, that could be complete bullshit. I don't know.
No, that probably does make sense.
It sounded legitimate, but
right. Well, and they got the DigiPen logo all over it too. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, maybe they couldn't sell it for that reason. And
right.
But I think it's a great. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it's a good kind of proof of concept for what they're working on next as well. So yeah, I'll definitely. I've already, like I said, I already voted yes to greenlight it on Steam, and I'll be keeping an eye on it for sure.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I really liked it. It was awesome. These guys, for what I'm assuming are a bunch of young dudes right out of school, did a bang-up job. Good stuff.
Yes.
Awkward pause.
Pause. No, awkward pause when I remembered that we'd had one person chime in about Nitronic Rush, and I wanted to read their comment because.
I don't think there was much to read, unless there was another comment I didn't see.
No, there wasn't. Where is it? I'll find it.
I think
Here it is.
Nitronic Rush is awesome. Isn't that it?
Wrestling Theme Remix left us a comment on YouTube, and he said, Nitronic Rush is the shit.
Oh, is the shit. I'm
the
sorry.
Shit. Yep.
Not awesome is the shit.
That's awesome, though, that he wrote that it was the shit. That is the shit that he thinks it's awesome.
Yeah. I made my brother play it, too. He wrote a little something. I didn't jot it down, but he really dug it, too. Thought it was cool.
Nice.
And I'll just, since we don't have a ton of comments on the actual game, I will just point out, I mentioned this, I don't know if anybody listening even follows me on Twitter. So, but whatever. Just that lately we've been getting a lot of really nice feedback about the show, particularly on YouTube, and really appreciate that. So thank you guys very much for all the nice comments you've been making. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside when we read them.
So next time we're doing Walking Dead, huh?
We're doing a biggie. Yeah, we're doing The Walking Dead.
For our final Game Club episode of 2012, we will be doing The Walking Dead, the Telltale game, not the Facebook one.
Yeah, and also not the game that comes out next year, also called The Walking Dead.
Right. Yes, we are doing the good one.
Yes.
That's not fair. That's not fair. I'm all,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is kind of an anomaly for us in that we don't usually do longer games, but the truth be told is we've all kind of been playing it already, so we just figured we'd extend it out and then talk about it for our final episode. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll probably be very spoiler heavy.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put a spoiler alert right at the beginning of that. If you have not played Walking Dead, don't even bother showing up to that show. And in fact, if you haven't played The Walking Dead, shame on you. Go play The Walking Dead.
Now's your chance. If you didn't pick it up in the last Steam sale over Thanksgiving, I'm sure, or Gamersgate or whoever had it on sale, I'm sure that the upcoming winter sales will also have it cheap if you don't want to spend the $20 or whatever. And
yeah, plus it's going to be out on disc, I think, soon. It might be out on disc already by the time people hear this online.
Oh,
like people will be able to buy like the full thing and just like pop it in their 360 or PlayStation and play it.
Yes, you owe it to yourself if you're at all even marginally a fan of The Walking Dead in any of its forms, or if you're just a fan of good
zombie
adventure kind of branching dialogue kind of stuff, you definitely should check this game out and leave us some feedback, and we will definitely read it on the show on this next episode, because this is going to be a big one. It will be our big end of year shebang for the show, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah. Yes. So be sure to head over to eldergeek.com and check us out on Facebook, Twitter. Check out our Twitch TV channel, where there's always good stuff going on. Guys are always streaming streaming games, and they do the 2-button panic every week. A lot of good stuff going on. You guys should check it out. And also hit us up on iTunes. You can download, if you're listening to this on YouTube, thank you very much. We appreciate it. You should definitely subscribe to the Elder Geek channel, as there are always good reviews going up and video features. And then also, if you are interested, you can subscribe to an audio feed of this show and download it to your podcast device of choice. We're on iTunes, we're on Zune, we're on Stitcher Radio. Look for us on any of those marketplaces and subscribe to the show. And if you have it in your heart, it is the season of giving, we would absolutely appreciate it if you'd leave us some reviews or 5-star ratings on any of those marketplaces. It would help us out a whole bunch. And that about does it for this episode of the Elder Geek Game Club. Thank you guys very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. And if you didn't play it, go check out Nitronic Rush, because it's awesome, in case you didn't gather that from the last 40 minutes or so of us talking about it. For myself, Steve, and Phil and Randy, thank you very much, everybody.
Good night.